Hello, welcome to the Odd on Stone podcast, where we discuss films, TV shows, and much more. I'm your host, Anderson Miller, alongside my co-host, Dimitri Ray. Today, we're going to be discussing the DCU Chapter 1 slate announced by James Gunn the other day. Now, we know we're a little late with our reaction to all this, but honestly just needed some time to process. We were excited for the announcement, but we were not prepared for what we got. I have to say that if you are a true fan of DC Comics, like myself, I have been my entire life, James Gunn and Peter Safran, they are handing us exactly what we want on a gold platter. And I know some people out there will say, oh, we want the Snyderverse. We're not getting it. Okay? And just because we're not getting it doesn't mean we can't get other things that we want. We are getting all the main characters. We're getting Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And then we're going to focus on background characters as well, which is great because it really feels like they're going to be doing some actual world building. And I'm not taking away at all from what Zack Snyder was trying to do. I loved his DC. Loved it. And honestly, I'm very sad that we won't get to see in live action that story come to an end. Because I'm sure like many people, the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was like, I need more of that. But maybe one day we'll get in like a graphic novel or an animation. Either way, I'll take it. I would just love to see the ending of that story. Well, with that being said, that doesn't mean that I am not willing to accept other cool things. James Gunn is not a fan favorite, and we all know why. But let's be honest. He is a creator. He knows what it takes to make a movie. He knows the process behind it. He knows the things that can distract from making a movie good. Like executives and people who don't really know what they're talking about kind of putting their foot in the door because money, money, money. And we've seen what that does. As the past 12 years of DC movies has been a total disaster. Honestly, it's been a disaster. Like, we've had no continuity. And when we think we're finally getting that, they throw a curveball at us. I mean...
Yeah, that's one thing I said, over the last few years is, yes, I mean, like you, I'm a fan of Zack Snyder. I love his movies. I think he's excellent at what he does. All I want, though, is continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that means Zack Snyder's, not really in the picture and not primary anymore, unfortunately, but so be it. If it means James Gunn rolling with his vision, which James Gunn's a great director. He knows his stuff. Brightburn, for example.
I'm a fan of his movies personally.
I am, too.
I mean, not everyone has to be, but...
Right.
I
think he'll do a good job. And I like that we're getting characters and stories that, me personally, because I'm not much of a comic book person, but that I can get more knowledge about different characters. I think that would be really cool because for people like me who aren't into comic books, I may do my own research on them and just, Google them, look up videos, things like that about them, which I think is another really cool thing that he's doing.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. He really... That is my favorite MCU movie. I think the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie is just so well done. It'll be a movie that when I'm in my 60s, it'll have a feeling of nostalgia for me because I associate it with a big time in my life and the music that he used and the scenes that music fits with. It's just art. He did a really good job with that film. I think even a James Gunn hater can't deny that. But either way, he brought characters to life that I knew nothing about. I'm not really a Marvel Comics fan. I like Spider-Man and his rogue gallery. Outside of that, I've never been too familiar with Marvel canon. But Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely hadn't heard of them. I saw a talking tree, a talking raccoon, some green girl. I'm like, what is this?
Right.
I remember when they first showed the teaser where they're like all walking into the lineup to get their mugshots or whatever. I'm like, what is this weird group?
Mm-hmm.
And then that movie is now my favorite MCU movie. And that's because of James Gunn. That movie was just so well done. And I think that's what he specializes in. He brings these characters that aren't really necessarily well known and makes them iconic. Now they're household names.
Yeah.
People are upset because Batista's about done with Drax. I mean, it's great. And now him bringing that idea into the DC where, let's be honest, a lot of DC characters have not seen the light of day. outside of a
Most
comic
of
book.
them haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been like, oh, let's just like stomp this character into
Yeah.
the mud until it looks the way we want it to, and
Batman.
it's getting kind of tiring. It really
It
is.
is.
So I am excited for the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
I really hope James Gunn doesn't direct it personally, but if he does, I'm excited to see what he does. I think he has too much on his plate to really direct a movie really well right now. But he's writing it, and it's a passion project, so I can just see him being a creative person being like, I need to direct this. I need to set the tone for my new DCU. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't necessarily even have to direct it. And, he can, with him being in the position he's in, he can still go there to the studio and see what they're doing. He can still put his opinion in and tell them, like, oh, this is kind of what I was thinking. It's your movie, and you do what you want with it. Like, I'm trusting you to do.
Yeah.
But this was kind of what I'm hoping to see. They can still collaborate and talk about, each other's visions, and I think that'll only make it a better movie. Because if you're getting the dude who's writing the script, he's already got the vision in his head of what he's writing.
I'm with you on that. I just think he's got so much on his plate right now, and I kind of worry it would be a lot for him to try to tackle directing a film the way he'd want to while building the entire DCU. But who knows? James Gunn is a mastermind at his craft, and we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens. The directors that are being mentioned to work with him and Peter Safran really excite me. Mm-hmm. Ben Affleck, great actor, but he's also a really good director.
He is. If
he came in and directed a movie, like everyone's talking about the Batman, Brave and the Bold. Yeah. Yes, okay. Ben Affleck directing the Batman movie would be awesome, but let's not weigh him down to this one character just because he killed it as Batman. Like, he could direct any of these characters' movies, and I'd be excited about it. So, and Swamp Thing, I'm very excited for that.
I'm very excited.
As I feel like it's an Elseworlds movie, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like he kind of said it wasn't really going to directly connect.
I can't remember.
I can't either, but
I think so, though.
But the Elseworlds thing excites me. He literally said the word Elseworld, so it's a thing. It's not just something we all like dream about on Twitter.
Right.
So now we know it's okay to have these characters outside of the DCU. Mm-hmm. It's okay.
That's kind of what I liked about the Arrowverse, though, was they did have, like, I mean, they kind of went a little further than what I hoped they would with that, but they kind of had Elseworld things going on, which I thought was a little cool thing that they did.
Yeah, that's true.
So if it's done right, it can be amazing, and it can be just as good as any of these primary world movies that we're going to see. And people are worried about his Superman. I'm not, and it's because of Brightburn. And they're all worried that he's going to Marvelize DC. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to make a very dark DC world, and I'm very excited for that.
I don't understand what Marvelize means. Like, if that's supposed to be a stab at, like, oh, they're just about comedy,
right?
Okay, you're wrong. You obviously haven't seen most of the MCU movies, because I think a good movie makes you feel all the emotions. Yeah. Most MCU movies do that. Yeah. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll be angry. I mean, whatever. I don't think they're all funny, but anyways, if Marvelize means having a connected universe, telling your fans something they can look forward to and delivering on that, yes, Marvelize the fuck out of DCU. People are so stupid, I swear. It's like they get online and be like, I want this, and then James Gunn's like, here you go. Well, now I don't want it. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I forget who it was. I was scrolling on Twitter one day, and somebody said exactly that. They're like, we've all been complaining that we want to see more people and, more characters, and now that we have it, we're bitching that we have it. And I'm just like, yeah, you got a point with that.
Well, here's the other thing. The Snyder fandom and that side of the Snyder fandom that I'm referencing, they think that is the majority of they think that they are just outmatched. Like, they outnumber all the other fandoms. It's like, no, I'm not saying you're robots, but I'm just letting you know that DC fans at the end of the day, yes, they may have liked Zack Snyder's story, but they're also going to like other directors' visions and stories, because at the end of the day, like me and Dimitri, they're DC fans. Good Lord. I'm just so tired of the Zack Snyder thing. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I literally have all the figures for the movie. I have the movie. I have anything about it. I have a poster of it that I bought from a guy who made the artwork for it. I mean, I loved everything about it. but I'm not sitting here crying that it's not going to continue.
Right.
There's no point in that. I don't know. Drives me crazy. If that's what makes you happy, though, keep doing your thing. But I want no part of it. And honestly, to me, it's made it embarrassing to address myself as a Zack Snyder fan because I'm instantly associated with those people.
Right.
Those people that get on all the comments on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, restore the Snyderverse, fire James Gunn. It's like, what are you accomplishing? People that are creating these projects like Project Justice League, that's an achievement. They literally brought the storyboards, the older storyboards, to life. And they finished Zack Snyder's original vision. And they did it tremendously. I mean, honestly, they did a really good job with that. So that kind of stuff is cool to me. That's accomplishing something. Trolling and spamming a hashtag. If you think your hashtag is the reason the Snyder Cut got released, you are wrong. Yeah. So much more went into it than hashtags. Yeah.
And that's the thing is
gosh.
Me personally, I've learned not to just judge something based off of this or that when it comes to movies. I mean, Matt Reeves' Batman, like I said in our Batman podcast, I was concerned because Robert Pattinson played Edward in Twilight, and that's all I could think of. And I was more than wrong. I was so wrong about the initial thought I had about him.
I was wrong too. I was worried about it, and
it taught me, don't get sucked into those dumb thought process that you get into with certain things, and just
it's hard not to.
It is hard.
I remember when Ben Affleck got cast as Batman. I was like, Ben Affleck,
right?
And then I saw that first leaked image of him like standing there in black and white with the Batmobile. He's all buff, and I was like, oh, okay, we're going that route,
right?
Like, and not only that, but Ben Affleck got big. Like he got big for that role. Yeah, so it's just funny how like that can happen. Because honestly, when Heath Ledger got announced as Joker, I was like, Heath Ledger, right. And then he's iconic now. And so it's just funny how that happens.
It is.
It's just a part of how the human brain works, honestly.
Sure.
But
I do agree. It is definitely difficult. It's just something I have to keep reminding myself. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I just got to be patient. You got to see what James Gunn is going to do.
Anyone spamming restore the Snyderverse, fire James Gunn, boycott, that is this is the attitude you need to have of like, okay, I need to just quit focusing on what I'm not getting, and I need to be optimistic about what I am getting. Because, like I said, he's serving up the golden platter. What he announces half of the first chapter. Yeah. He's giving us the main staples of the DCU, and then he's pulling out of the archives characters and stories never thought would see the light of day coming to the big screen. I mean, it's incredible.
Especially people like me who's not familiar. Like, you're familiar with some of these characters, but you don't really know, like, the depth of the characters. Like the Lanterns, I'm familiar with it. I saw.
I can't wait for that.
Ryan Reynolds when he was in Green Lantern. We all know about that.
That poor movie.
I'm not even going to go there. But that's pretty much as far as my knowledge goes. I'm aware with the rings and stuff like that, but I don't. More than that, like I'm not like extremely knowledgeable. And I feel like us getting this Lanterns. It's a movie, if I'm remembering correctly. Mm-hmm. It will really broaden my knowledge.
I think it's coming to HBO Max.
HBO Max.
I think it's a series.
But either way, it's going to really broaden my knowledge about them, and
I hope so because
I'm very excited for.
I've read a lot of Green Lantern comics, and the thing that Ryan Reynolds' movie had a lot of things that failed to do, but they're more of a galactic detective force.
Yeah, that's kind of what I gathered.
So the fact that movie barely took place in space.
Yeah, that was
kind of, and I get wanting to take a dive into like Hal Jordan, the person on Earth. That's cool, but I just feel like there was a missed opportunity there, and it sounds like now we're gonna actually get what we wanted originally, because he said we're gonna have him and Hal Jordan. Like we're gonna get both of the main Green Lanterns we're so familiar with, and get this detective story, and I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. That reminds me, something I was very, very excited about with all this was James Gunn not only promoting their slate, he's promoting comic books.
Yeah.
Because in his video announcement, he's literally saying, hey, we're doing this movie, and this is the comic book that inspired this. And then they show you a picture from the comic book or the cover of it. And now those comic books are selling out everywhere.
Yeah, seeing that.
Brilliant. That is brilliant
It is.
PR, dude. I mean, and I'm sorry, but this just further convinces me that James Gunn is the man for the job.
Yeah.
It really does. Now, yes, we'll need to wait and see what actually gets produced, because anyone can say things are coming, blah, 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 and then we get left disappointed later. DC fans are very used to that. So it's not that we're not prepared for, but I am very optimistic and hopeful for the latter. I want James Gunn to be successful. I want his plan to work, and I want it to be awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's the thing. What hurts me is people are complaining about, like, it looked like drawings. The drawings of when he was announcing it that he showed us the pictures of. And they're like, oh, it looks like crap, you know, it's going to be terrible. It's like, that's an initial drawing or, like, the comic, but, like, you can't, you know, get an opinion just based on that one little thing.
What's funny is that's actual, like, comic book illustrators.
Right.
So that's people saying, like, oh, that illustrator sucks. It's like, okay, like, that's your opinion. That doesn't mean the live action version is going to look like this.
It's just kind of a dumb little argument.
And he
in my
didn't
opinion.
say that the movies or TV shows will be a direct adaptation of the comic book.
Exactly.
He just said that we're doing a story based off of this series. Just similar to how, like, Zack Snyder did Batman vs. Superman. Heavily influenced by Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. So it's like, it wasn't a direct adaptation of the comic book,
Right.
but it was heavily influenced by it. So that's okay. That's great. Like, if
I'd
you're
rather have that.
Exactly. I love knowing that the guy in charge is heavily into the source material. Again, another thing we're always asking for.
And then we get it, and it's like, oh.
These people, man, I'll tell you. We're going to get a lot of crap for this video. I don't
100%.
care. We're going to be doing an episode real soon where we reveal some news about what we used to do. Oh, man, it's going to get some people fired up. There's a little Easter egg right there.
A couple of teasers.
I don't know if that looks familiar to anybody, but
I don't know.
maybe like the 400-something that tried to report us at one point.
Yikes.
But anyways, back to the positive.
That, the poll James Gunn posted on Twitter about the trunks. People were freaking out so much about it. He had to be like, this isn't swaying me one way or another. It was just supposed to be entertainment and fun.
Again, brilliant PR because, for one, that got the conversation re-fired up again.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was like trending on Twitter.
Right.
Superman trunks. Yeah. James Gunn. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Oh, 100%.
He knows what he's doing. It's brilliant. And it's like, at the end of the day, they're not going to make a decision based off a Twitter poll.
No.
The fact that you think that matters, if you are someone who thinks that matters, like, you need to reassess some things in your life because, good Lord, it is Twitter.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
And I actually took it as a jab at Elon Musk because Elon Musk is always posting these Twitter polls, and it's like, dude. But, I mean, I guess he owns Twitter, so it makes a little more sense that the owner would want to know what people on Twitter think.
Right.
But I just thought it was funny that he did that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I like James Gunn as a person. I'm just saying that I have always liked his creative works to some degree. I honestly wasn't a huge fan of the Suicide Squad, but, you know, sometimes a movie is aimed toward a specific audience, and that audience wasn't me. Some of the humor in it, I didn't really care for it. But overall, I thought it was a beautifully filmed movie. And I thought
it was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
I enjoyed it.
And yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I'm just saying, like, the comedy in it, because a lot of people are saying, oh, the DCU is going to be plagued by James Gunn's fart jokes. And it's like, do you really think he's going to hire these prestigious directors that he thinks fit what he wants for a character and then step in and be like, hey, right there, I need Batman to just kind of let one rip?
Right.
I'm sorry. But no, he is in a prestigious position. There is a lot of pressure on him to present something that's going to make Warner Brothers Discovery a lot of money. I don't think his focus is going to be implanting fart jokes in movies. I just, I don't know.
It's definitely a very interesting time period we're in as DC fans. Just because
it's kind of exciting.
It is. It's very exciting.
Which feels good.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I've wanted. Like, don't get me wrong. The Dark Knight trilogy was supposed to be just its own thing, and it was only supposed to be a trilogy. Matt Reeves' The Batman is kind of the same thing. It's his own little world, Elseworlds, as James Gunn called it, which I love that he's keeping.
So glad.
I'm so
glad.
happy about that.
Leave them alone. Let them do their thing.
But this is the first time where we're finally getting a layout of exactly what we're going to get. And I think that's what Marvel has done perfectly, is everything they said we're going to get, we got.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know...
Except for Blade.
I
don't know what's going on with Blade. They need to figure that out. But yes.
But
for the most part in the past 12 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you can keep stories going for 12 years with the same actors in, the comic book world, that is spectacular. And I know for Marvel, it's like, oh, it's just Marvel. That's what they do. That's what you're used to. And and it's great because you hear of a character, you're not thinking, oh, I wonder who they're going to cast for that character. Like Iron Man. I wonder who they're going to cast for Iron Man in the next, movie.
Yeah, it's
you already know
same person.
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Yep.
And there's no way they'll ever change that in our lifetime.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to something I wanted to discuss, and that's Henry Cavill, because that's obviously a sore point for anyone who's a DC fan. Henry Cavill is the perfect Superman casting.
Yes.
But I can understand why James Gunn is doing what he's doing. I'm actually a big fan of the idea of just a hardcore reboot.
Yes.
I think having fresh ideas, being fresh to your position, and having to build something beautiful with a bunch of rumble and destruction left from what was there before, that just sounds awful. I'd rather he just has a clean slate.
Yeah.
And it sucks because that does mean get rid of everything that we've seen and just start fresh.
Right.
But it also means a fresh perspective. Yeah. It means we don't have the weight of all this crap that's happened over the past 8 years.
It's like a dark cloud just being
the fact that he's doing a soft reboot, it means he does have a respect for the fans and wanting to somewhat continue some of the stories and the characters we've seen. So I do appreciate that, and I can understand Henry Cavill isn't young. He's not old. But if you're trying to map out a story that goes 10 years, maybe more, you don't want Superman looking like he's in his late 50s at the climax of the story.
Yeah.
You'd rather he looks like he's in his
30s,
late 30s. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I can kind of understand it. Yeah. And
that's the thing is, like, you just got to be patient with this. It sucks in the moment because, like you, I'm a huge Henry Cavill fan. I loved him as Superman. I thought he looked great as Superman. I thought the character was great. I think he brought him to life, and he just did a great job.
He embodied the character, man. And you know what? I think James Gunn acknowledges that. Yeah. I mean, he said himself, he got dicked around.
He did.
He absolutely, and I don't think he was just talking about recently. Like, yes, that was a total screw job on every person possible around Henry Cavill that was influencing that. $7, Harlem Garcia, Warner Brothers, anybody in Warner Brothers that was involved. Like, no one should have let him announce he was back as Superman.
No.
No one should have prompted him to do so. No one should have put it in his head that he was, because what was going on was Warner Brothers was like, yeah, you can say that you're back in Black Adam.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. That was it. I mean, that was it. It was done. But no, it was a total screw job. It got everyone all excited for something that wasn't coming.
And I feel like that's a big part of everybody's, like, anger about this. It's because of that. I feel like that plays a huge part, and they're just like...
It was a big punch to the gut, and it's hard to walk away from that, but I kind of look at James Gunn's timing with all this as perfection because he gave it time to be out there.
Yeah.
He gave time to let people know, hey, I talked to him. He isn't going to be my Superman. And that was tough. That was really tough, and it's hard to, like, be a fan of the guy who's running the thing you're in love with when that's the first decision he makes.
Right.
But he gave it enough time to where we're like, okay, whatever. Because as DC fans, again, we're used to being let down. And then he hits us with this.
Yeah.
And I'm excited again. I mean, yeah, I would love, again, to have a continuation of what we were getting before in some ways. Like the Birds of Prey and I don't know. But the Zack Snyder storyline, yes. And even if it wasn't that, if we got a Superman movie with Henry Cavill, something with Black Adam, that would have been great, cool. But I am very excited for this new slate. I think it's, for the most part, going to be a fresh start, and it's going to give us something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the movies that are coming out this year are pointless. I'm so tired of seeing that.
That's dumb.
I love the first Shazam movie, and I liked that it sprinkled some connective tissue to the other DC movies, but it did remain its own thing. I think that was brilliant on the director's part because Andy Samberg, I believe his name is, because well, I think he kind of recognized that he was in a unsteady ship. Yeah, I think he was able to understand that. I mean, heck, they couldn't have Superman's head at the end credit scene, you know, like they had some stunt double in the suit. It was just a mess. So I think he was able to acknowledge that, and I think it kind of saved Shazam to where he potentially could continue in the DCU. So it was pretty brilliant on his part. But I'm excited for the sequel. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I don't think it's going to be a blockbuster, but I think it'll be a fun movie.
It kills me when people complain about, like, the comedy in that. And I'm just thinking, like, you got to remember.
That's the character.
This kid is a kid. Even as he's Shazam, he's still got the mentality of a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Or however old he is.
Yeah, he's a preteen. Yeah,
you know, so he's still got that maturity level of a kid. He's still going to do kid-like things.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, movies sometimes are just made for a certain audience.
Right, exactly.
And if you don't like it, cool, move on.
Don't watch it.
It's not like the entire world that's involved in is going to be like that.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
I hate that mentality. But anyways, and we got Blue Beetle.
I'm very excited for that.
Very excited for that. And I like that James Gunn has basically said, like, yeah, he fits right into my DCU.
Yeah, I like how he's bringing him in.
I'm on board. If you get him with Booster Gold and we get some blue and gold, I am all for that.
I don't know who that Booster Gold is, but...
Well, you're about to find out as he's getting a TV series on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
But then, the Flash movie, the highly anticipated, long overdue Flash movie that I think will give us our last remnants of the Snyderverse. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a good send-off to that story. I think it's going to give us a little bit of closure, which we're wanting, so that'll be nice. And James Gunn said himself, it's resetting the universe. Yeah. Reset. So.
Which, before all of this, like, I'm pretty sure there are rumors going around saying that the Flash is just going to reset it and kick Zack Snyder out and all that. Which, before James Gunn said all this, I was a little weary about that. I was like, all right, you're kind of just screwing Zack Snyder over, which I wasn't a fan of hearing that. But now that, you know, James Gunn has said what he said and has given us what... I'm excited for it. You know, I think it's a great way to send everything off and refresh.
I think he is taking advantage of an opportunity, and he's probably thankful to the gods that it exists, because I can't imagine coming into his position with everything going on. Right. You got people wanting to continue the Snyderverse. You got The Rock making his own Snyderverse, but it's really $7 Productions, DC. And then you've got people just wanting a total reboot, and you just throw him in the middle, and he's like,
Right. And
he's looking at, oh, crap, there's 4 big DC movies coming out. Yeah. Oh, God, hopefully these don't ruin anything I'm wanting to do.
Right.
And, there's The Flash, and it's based off Flashpoint. Perfect. Yeah, it's freaking perfect. I mean, so I commend him for taking advantage of that. I've heard that they've done some things to the movie to make it fit a little better into his plans. Yeah. Perfectly okay with that. I'm okay with... I know they filmed the Henry Cavill scene for the movie. If they removed it, good. I just want him to be left alone. Henry Cavill is such a good actor and such a good human being. What happened to him was terrible. And I think him being featured in another DC movie is just going to prolong the further remorse that we have for what happened. I don't want to see him in that movie. I really don't. I think Sasha Calle as Supergirl is going to kill it. Very excited to see that. And I would like her to stand out as the Kryptonian being in this movie. Well, amongst Zod.
I love Zod.
I'm excited he's coming back.
Yes.
But then, last but not least, Aquaman. Come on, man. That first one, $1 billion movie. I'm so excited for the sequel. Yeah. So excited. Black Manta's revised look straight out of the comic book. Oh my God. Can't wait for that. And I'm hoping this movie gets a little darker. It is James Wan. And this guy knows how to get scary. And he did have that canceled idea for a trench movie he wanted to do. So I'm hoping we get a little trenchy in Aquaman 2. I hope it gets dark. We have the stealth suit. That dark suit we've seen. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I'm curious, but I'm very excited to see that. And then after that, we're going right into the new chapter of DCU. So if you ask me, if all these movies didn't connect, I'm still excited for them. They don't have to have a point. The point is they're a movie that was made by a director with a vision, with actors who are really good at what they do. So go see it and hope it's a freaking good movie.
Yeah.
Who cares if it connects to anything else?
Right.
Just watch it because it's a good movie. Or don't. Still don't care. I'm going to go watch them. I'm excited for all of them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Marvel's made people think that everything has to be connected.
It doesn't.
It's like, gosh, it doesn't. They can just be good films on their own, and then we can go on to something else.
Yeah.
If James Gunn said that all these movies were Elseworld movies, okay.
Cool.
Still excited for them.
Yeah. And that's what I think The Dark Knight did so well is it, like I said a little bit ago, it's just those 3 movies. And that's it. And I love that because it's like, the trilogy is, the trilogy, whatever. We all have our own opinions about it and whatnot. But besides that, like, I love that. They were just entertaining to me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed them. I really thought they were, good entertainment movies. And I'll still watch them every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's not connected to, any other DC movie. And it's because it's entertaining.
That would be like saying, I'm not going to watch Joker 2 because what's the point? It's not connected to the greater DCU.
Exactly.
Like, the point is that it was a record-setting movie that won Oscars, and now it has another talent in Lady Gaga joining the fray.
Right.
Why wouldn't you see? That's the point. It's like when people say, what's the point of seeing Aquaman or Shazam? Like, good directors, good storytellers, good actors. Like, it's really disrespectful to say, what's the point?
Right.
Like, if I'm Jason Momoa and I get on Twitter, I know he doesn't care about any of this crap. He's a cool dude, But just as an example, when I get on RC, I'll be like, oh, me being in it's not good enough? I'm not, I'm not good at what I do.
Guess.
It's just so dumb. So dumb.
It really is.
Not to mention, I just feel like at that point, you're just not wanting anything to be successful so that you have something to complain about online. I think some of you like waking up and just hating some like frosted hatos and getting on. Like,
everybody wakes up with that Killer Frost attitude.
Dude.
That is one character I want to see. The Flash TV series with Grant Gust.
Oh, yeah.
I love that Killer Frost.
Well, honestly, there's a lot of Suicide Squad comic book runs with Killer Frost.
In it, yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that his sequel, James Gunn's sequel to Suicide Squad, features. I think that'd be cool. Because Killer Frost and King Shark have a pretty good dynamic in comics. I think that'd be funny. So, yeah. I don't know. Point is, I'm excited for the first time in a long time as a fan of DC Comics for the movies. And that's a good feeling because it's usually like, what's coming out? Oh, the Batman's coming out in 2 years? Okay, cool.
Right.
No, now we're hearing we're going to get 2 movies, 2 TV shows a year.
Yeah.
I like that. We're just being told, hey, here's what you have to look forward to. Yeah. Great. Can't wait.
Right.
I just don't see a problem with it. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Basically, we're excited. Yeah. Half of the Snyder fandom isn't. Good for you. Move on. But, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little conversation. And if you have anything you want to contribute to the conversation, comment down below. Feel free to DM us. If you want to cancel us, just hashtag away. We've dealt with it before, so
we'll deal with it again. We still don't care.
But yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, we are
very excited. So.
Especially about that Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
Oh, Damian in live action. He's a hateful son of a bitch, and I can't wait to see him, man. He's a killer. He's an assassin. Oh, it's gonna be so cool. Oh, and real quick, this just means that we're getting Ra's al Ghul and Talia. And we're getting the League of Shadows.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the League of Shadows.
And only that, but that means at this point in Batman's life, his family's established.
Yeah.
We're going to have a Nightwing out there. We're going to have a Red Hood.
Yes.
I'm like, dude, I'm signed up. I'm ready to go.
For it.
I'm
love it.
Man. So, yeah, anyways, we're excited. We hope you guys are too. Thanks for joining in. We're the Ironstone Podcast. Hit the thumb on hand. Whether it's up or down, we don't care. We're just here for a good time until we get canceled.
Yeah.
Until next time.